Yeah, bollocks to it. Let's do it live. There's not really much left to do, but for completion's sake, we'll do this. For completion's sake, we will do this. I labelled it boring stuff, so if you came here expecting something good, you have nobody to blame but yourself. I don't know how long I've got, because I'm tired, I've got to sleep soon. But whatever. Fuck me, it's warm. It's too fucking warm for this shit then. But let's get on with this. SWB BLOOD-8. It feels weird now they've been done with this. I gotta be honest. Hold on a minute. It's kind of novel that it detects the mouse wheel. So that's where we were yesterday, isn't it? Where we're up to the clock, time ticking away. This K5 is still fucking alive here. You know, like, isn't right? For over a year now I've been trying to establish a cricket colony and I cannot for the life of me do it. So yeah, after like 2 years of trying, I've successfully instead established a fucking domestic beetle colony. Well, at least they clean up the crap in cricket enclosures, so there's that. I don't know why I can't do it. Like, everything else I've had, like, has done fine. Even I only bought 1 hamster when I was a kid, and that thing still, like, managed to produce more hamsters after, like, a week. I've bred Java sparrows, I've done all sorts of stuff, but, yeah, cannot get crickets to replicate, no matter what I do. So, I don't know. I tell you what, the ghost sprites were definitely different. So I don't remember that having these braking frames, but maybe I'm wrong. Well, that looks different. Now, it's kind of interesting, because I think you're seeing, like, a pink edge on the left, and I can't actually see that on my monitor. That's really weird. I don't know why that's happening. I can only imagine it must be the way that edit art draws things to the screen and my scaler box doesn't like it, because you've got that flickering and that tearing, like where it's fucking up, going weird, mostly towards the centre of the sprite. I cannot see that on the monitor. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's like, I don't know. I'd love to have seen that chair sprite voxelized. Now, according to Lagatoru, I think is how we pronounce the dude's name, I don't know, Lagatoru or something. Apparently there is a mod called The Lost Episode, which uses some of the alpha resources and such. So yeah, I will be checking it out. Thanks, dude, for mentioning that, because that might be interesting. Hopefully it's not like a really shit job, because a lot of the time these things are. And I don't know what blood modding's like. I ventured into it a long time ago when I released some maps, and it seemed just like every other scene, only smaller. Like, it wasn't as many as there was for Duke or anything at that time. So yeah, by now I don't know whether people make good stuff or not. Oh yeah, we found a bunch of them floating in the air, didn't we? What was it they did to us again? I can't remember. And they are apparently coins, according to the label at the bottom there. So yeah, I don't really know what to make of that. Cloak and dagger. Well, you see, these appear in archways all over the place, so I'm not sure this texture was always here. I can't help but wonder, could the AI jump gaps, or was it to help the player float over gaps at one time? Because I don't think it was always the cloak, because of the way it's arranged in levels doesn't appear to be how the cloak's meant to work. We might find a mention of the cloak in the dev docs. We're going to look at some of the documents in the folder. Souls. I like Souls. There's blood from Souls. They got that implemented pretty early, I guess. Glow feet. What, like glowing footprints? Okay. Was that to guide you, perhaps? I mean, never know. This screen's got dust on it. Yeah, feather falling. Which I think we found had limited functionality. I wonder if that still works in the final game. Unfortunately, when I started the final game, I ended up with corruption on my hard drive again. Corrupted some system files, which luckily weren't critical and were easy to fix, but yeah, we're not starting that again. Not outside of DOSBox, and I can't presently do that, so... But yeah, again, I've got all these detailed textures that didn't make it, these mask textures, which is a real shame. And didn't those only exist in one orientation? And that's the texture I always wanted, so either I didn't notice it was there, or something. Oh, how do we do this? I can't remember. I know there's a way to change the region, but I don't remember. No. Pardon me for my ignorance. Let me... Yeah, let's see how it ends. Okay. I can't remember the keys. I should have probably read up on them. But yeah, some really odd upsets. Okay, pick bottle to... What the fuck? Hold on a minute. Were the bottles going to... You see, that to me makes me think like it's bobbing up and down in water or something. That would look quite good. I can think of quite a few places where you could use that and have it look decent. Like, sure, you could just, like, hit C on the regular bottle sprite, but having this tilted version where it does it itself... That's kind of cool. Silver Grill, all these items they had planned. Duke 3D, I know, had a lot of items that weren't used. I think you could pick up booze bottles in that or something at one point. What else was there? I don't know, man. It was like an angle head torch. IR goggles. TNT remote. These have TNT timer. These have pickups. Bullets, ammo. That's generic. Flares. That has not changed much. Tommy drum. That looks rare cleaner than it does in the final game. Flares. Flare HE. Were there two types of flares? Or could they just not make their mind up? Flare burst. Okay, so what were the... Was the alt fire, did it require a different ammunition type? Now that's something I did not know. Spear explode. Explosive spears, I guess, for the what would become the Tesla cannon. It just looks like a bunch of 22mm pipes taped together in the middle and shit in this. That has no thing yet. We know what that would become. Blank. Invulnerable. Invisible. Hang on, there's a labelled tile that has no graphic. I wonder what... I mean, Invisor makes me think maybe it's supposed to be a blank tile, like this is a tile that is reserved to never have anything in it, perhaps. Duke 3D has a bunch of reserved tiles. If you look in the source code, like the monitors, the security monitors, when they're updating, like, you know, you can step away and the picture still shows. It's because it changes to a different tile number. There's a bunch of reserved tiles at the end for things like that. So yeah, maybe this is a reserved tile. It's very early though. It's usually put way now, like, far to the point no one's likely to put anything there. But I do wonder what would happen if we inserted some artwork here and placed it inside a map. Would the player be able to interact with it? Now maybe that's something to try someday. Raven Flight was the name of a shitty adventure game I made that. Guns, don't search for it, you won't find it. Guns Akimbo. Diving suit. Gas mask. Well, that's always useful. Random up. Now that, I think, is still sort of in the final game. I know the graphic is for it. Guillotine. Decoy. Boobs. We've got to have some pixelated boobies, man. I still don't know what the fuck this thing did. I think it's mentioned in the dev docs at one point. Asbestos suit. And that graphic, I think, made it to the end. I think you even get to see it in a level somewhere as a sprite-like decoration. Those rose-tinted glasses, man. Now, I want some of those. That makes everything... I don't know, I have some sunglasses that look like Raoul Duke's ones from Fear and Loathing. Actually, I have, like, linen trousers and a shirt. Like, it looks like his... And a hat. That's my summer wardrobe, man. Fuck off. Those sunglasses make everything look like yellowy green. It's quite interesting, because your eyes get used to it, so when you take them off, everything looks kind of like cyan. It's really weird. It's that fucking bastard. Look at that fucking... You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, fuck you, mushroom. Fuck you. Yeah. That'll fucking teach you. Isn't there a... No, I can't remember it. There's like a button you can press to put noise in the picture. Which is basically what the force field sprite was in Duke 3D. They didn't draw anything. I wouldn't, or they wasted their time if they did. These fucking mushrooms, man. Well, that's nice to know. The dynamite will warn us, it won't just blow up on us. Yeah. It's gonna blow! Doppelganger. Hang on, it has like two faces. One of them has like a bullet hole in it when it comes around again. Look. It needs to hang on the blank tile longer so you get the impression of the face swivelling round the back, because it doesn't look like they're at 180 degrees to each other. It's a bit of a shit animation. Actually, it doesn't look like it turns at all because of the shading on the sphere. That's sort of like MIDI maze looking stuff, man. I wonder what that did, whether it was like the Hollow Duke. Like, that's all I could guess. Or like the thing in Shadow Warrior. Did it have AI? Cool, look, duplicate tiles. There you go, let's go 862 and see if there's any... Nope, no tangible difference. It's a duplicate tile. Just to make the animation work. Clone. What is the deal with doppelganger, clone, decoy? To me, all sound very similar to one another. Oh, that's like that weird dancing thing where you put your hands on your knees and like your arms like your hands like swap to your other knee and shit. And it just looks gay. It does to me anyway. I don't do dancing. Don't look into my past. No, I did manly dancing. I did like figure skating. Me, that's proper dancing. That's the ghost's projectile that it fires, but it doesn't do that in this build of the game. So whether it was meant to be used for that, who knows? K-Pick Carnage. Total Carnage. 13. Invisor. Yeah, look, it holds like plasma or something. Hold on. Invisor. Ah, is this what the Invisor tile was meant to be? So maybe this was supposed to do something once. You know, I'd quite like to bring that in, but I can't remember how to do that. It looks like we can import art, so you never know. We might actually be able to do that. And then if we did that, it would be like that tile there. We'd be able to import it into that Invisor slot. Now what I'm going to do, at 9:04 I'm going to exit out and I'm just going to have a look in here. Oh, that doesn't exist. Ah, here we go. Let me have a look. Okay. Yeah, we should be able to... and left mouse. Nudge global origin. Okay, yeah, I think we can do this. That should get us the offset. And if I'm right, U is the import key, isn't it? It doesn't say that, but okay. Oh, surface types can be modified. That's like when you stab things with a pitchfork and either dust or blood or water splashes out. Is that a general build engine function, or is that something to do with blood itself? Change keys which set the... Now, you can't actually modify art in the final game, from what I remember. The tool's on the 1.0 disc, you can just look at it. I think you can still use regular build art editors with it or some such, I can't remember. I think it... Yeah, the surfaces are stored in like a separate file from what I remember as well, which Barf doesn't puke things like that out, like what comes with the game. It's very secretive, Blood, about what's actually in the RFF files. Like, there's tools that'll do it now, but yeah, it's pretty annoying, I've got to be honest. Yeah, this seems to be modified by Q Studios. Anyway, where were we? Like 9:04 or something. Let's go there and have a look. Well, let's go back up and see if we can get that carnage picture. So we should be able to do some nudging here. Maybe not. The hell? So that, why is that stored in memory? Is that shown anywhere? Like, I don't know why I can't nudge the orientation. Like, it's not working as it should. So I don't know if we can do anything with this. I could be wrong. Oh shit! Don't do that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Excuse me. Let me have a look at this. So, yeah, oh, apparently, Control Pad 5 sets the origin to center. These are the cursor and shit there. Yeah, I'm not sure this function works. I think your art editor's broken. I know there's a way to set the offset, but I don't remember how to do it. So, oh well. Yeah, space is set to... You know, I think there's something... There we go. Let's do this. You might actually be able to see what the surface types are marked as in here. Yeah, here we go. This is the right one. Yeah, now we should be able to do it. So I guess they changed some controls, because I know we can do this. Oh, this has the resolution cranked up, because we did that in thing. Look at this, that has surface data and such though. We should be able to mess with the orientation a little bit. The offset. To some... Yep, we can. That's something they seem to... Will that still work? That just displays the palette. Look at that. Thing is, this isn't... You can't add artwork with this, I don't believe. We can just view it. We'll go a little ways now. I might turn the resolution down so we can see what we're doing. Tell you what we will do, because it looks a bit shit like that, doesn't it? There we go. That should work, I think. Oh no, don't do that. Save it. It's all going horribly wrong. We'll be okay in a second, don't worry. Fuck you, Art Edit. It loads slower, doesn't it? There's way more drive activity. Ah, shit. No way. Isn't it? Should be. What about that? My car's broken. What the fuck have you done to my machine? Don't you dare corrupt my hard drive. I have a strong Visa well, I must be able to turn it down. Unchained. Melody. Ah, I hate that song. Never play Unchained Melody around me. Not even the Jimmy Young version. I mean, that doesn't suck as hard, but it still sucks. Black screen. Someone tells me I'm going to regret playing with this. I think we broke it. Right, well, I can't remember the keys for edit art. So pick your poison, or don't. We'll just keep going with things as they are. Image will come back in a second. Just give us a moment here to get this fucking machine reset. Because it crashed my machine. Come on, you son of a bitch. Faster. It's not exactly slow, this machine. I like K5s, man. K5s are good. They always work well for me. There we go. Well, we'll just stick to edit art. I mean, the resolution's about as good in the V menu, isn't it? So, right, let's fucking get on with this. TNT barrels. Blood splash. Hang on a minute. That's animated. Yes, it is. Still the final game. Might be slightly different. I'm not sure. There's no animation for that. Quick, let's steal her panties while she's dead. I mean, she's not going to miss them, is she? They might not smell as good, though. I'm not sure. Ah. That's kind of nice. Blank tile, no label. Puff of smoke. Candles. Gonna have candles. Romantic evening. No, it's all good, man. Pick padlock. That sprite, we did establish that it worked, yet I don't think it works in the final game or something. No, didn't it actually work when we tested it somehow? And it's never used in the final game. It appears in Mall of the Dead, but it does nothing. And there's like an odd room off the side of the map, which is actually a pretty cool room. Don't know what it would have been. Oh, hold on a minute. Look at that. One of the blue textures. Now, I don't think blue are the ones you can apply pallets to, but look at the way the ripples move. These must have been for underwater use. We've got a shit waterfall. Because having waterfalls of shit is always fucking good. That's a way to make your day better. We've got the evil washing machine. Fuck you, evil washing machine. You bastard fucking washing machine with your slightly jittery animation. Floor spike? So it is. Well, those weren't used. They were a bit like them fire things in Duke that weren't used. Hold on a minute. Oh wow, that explains why it looks jittery in the game. I thought they had wall panning in already. I'm like, I don't remember that being a thing, but okay. But no, apparently they used a tile for that. I wonder which one is less memory intensive, you know? Which is least strenuous on the system. And I was interested, I left my drink on top of the machine. It gets warm pretty fast. It makes me wonder, does, like, if we were to wet the space between my drinks bottle and the chassis of the system, would it affect the temperature inside the system? Yeah, I know, nerd mode on. You gotta have nerd mode on, man. Nerd mode is what gets the fucking world working. If you understand more about how the world works, you can then apply that knowledge to do something useful, to make the world slightly less shit for yourself. Fuck making it slightly less shit for anyone else. I don't know what this tile is. It's like a little tiny thing. It's not labelled. That's like a valve. That's like a turned valve. I guess that would be a switch type. Explode. The good thing with the X system is that you can make practically anything a switch with an animation or shit like that. So it's a really cool system. You can do a lot with it if you put the time in. Well, that didn't change, but the colours look slightly different. I do have to wonder if the palette might have changed a little. I mean, it did in Duke. I know I keep mentioning Duke, but I like that game better, and I know probably more about that game's development than I do this one. They're both on the same engine, so I think they're valid comparisons to make. By the way, I think my microphone's a bit quiet today. I'm not sure, because I can't hear myself, which is the problem with modern operating systems. So, that's another integral component of the evil, evil washing machine. I want an evil washing machine. It might be better than that piece of shit one I had. Look at this. Fucking water texture's crap. It looks like a little stream flowing over pebbles. You're trying to tell me that was submersible water? What a load of shite. I'm sorry, but that texture does look crap. Like, I'm sure you can make it look good, but the way in which they tried to use it looks crap. I always thought that texture looked a bit crap, but that's probably because it kind of looks like crap. Unfortunately, the capture card and the scaler and shit put way more red into the signal. I tell you what, you know, I don't think anyone's watching this right now, and I can't edit it, but I mean, feel free to skip around if you're watching this back, like when it's not streaming. Let's have a look and see if we can fuck around with the colour temperature. You never know, we might be able to. I remember when I used to keep it a secret what my scaler was. Someday I'll sit there in the menu and adjust things. I'll put like a colour card through it, and because then the OSD will be in the centre, so it won't obstruct anything. Because I think it doesn't dim the display. It shouldn't. I mean, this is a professional product. Fun fact: I bought this scaler for like 99 pence, I think it was. Yeah, it doesn't dim the rest of the display, so. But yeah, we'll adjust it properly someday. If I used to keep it a secret, I think I was near enough the first person to be able to do this sort of shit, at least in the field of what I'm doing. Rocks. You know what? Those should have been a weapon. I like throwing stones at shit. The caveman in me enjoys it. It's like I always had to have a bashing stick. You gotta have a bashing stick. Scorch. Now, I wonder if that was going to get left behind by explosions, because that would be awesome if they'd planned that, even if it never happened. Everybody's favourite quick switch to dump in a level, because it works everywhere. Oh, shit, man. Hang on. I thought the middle bit would spin. Is that meant to be like a sprite door? Hey, look, the green shit on it actually matches that one green strip tile. I wonder if there were more textures in that set. Because I actually quite like the look of it. That's a big jump. I've got animated on the left side there. That looks a bit shit. I can see why you'd get rid of that if you weren't prepared to clean it up. Yeah, man, I've got like moving sprite doors in some I've been dabbling with on the side. I think I've got like 16 frames in mine. They're way better than this. But yeah, these are broke in game probably because they have an animation defined, and I can't see how that would work. It'd have to be handled by code, unless they had the animation temporarily just so they could see what it would look like when it was working. Of course, they never did get these things working. It sucks, because I could see this on that little car ride in that fucking level where all the napalm comes out near the floor, near the end of the first episode. It's like level before the boss, I can't remember the name of it. I could see one of them being on that little car ride you go on. They're like the things they used to put on elevators. Like in the 1920s or whatever. I'd love to go back to the 1920s, man. It's such a beautiful decade. Classy women as well. 1920s women, like, yeah, fucking hell. They dressed properly back then, you know? Like, I don't know, personally I quite like having a lot left to the imagination, because it makes it feel like more of an achievement when you do get to see something. It's like, well, yeah, you see, I had to work hard to do this. What a weird switch. That's like a little finger pointing inside, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, that looks shit, actually. I can see why you didn't keep that. That looks like it should be underwater. I think we did find them underwater somewhere. Now, speaking of the colours on this, there is a problem with adjusting the colours, is that the scale is way more sensitive to like voltage differences between graphics cards, and so, you know, occasionally you'd have to adjust it for other cards to make it look the same. Rip Web. Oh, them poor spiders, man. Whoa, that looks like Lame Duke stuff. Only with like, it's like a cross between Blood and Lame Duke there. Also kind of reminds me a bit of the radio in Paper House, which probably nobody has ever fucking seen. Which is quite a fascinating thing in and of itself, in that I didn't see it until a few years ago. It's like cartoon I've been working on if it was made as live action in appearance, but plot-wise they're nothing alike. But it's still pretty cool to see someone using like a really similar style somewhere. Oh, that used to have animations. Look at that. Oh, that's fucking weird. Oh, that's gross as shit. Look at that. It's the stretching bit. What was that meant to be, like mucus or something? Ugh. Oh man, that's gross. Oh, that's fucking minging. Right, this tile always looked crap. Because it's meant to be like a shitfall behind glass or something, but it never looks good to me. Unlabeled, stained glass broken. Ooh. Ooh, that's kind of strange, actually. Well, it wouldn't tile. It looks a bit shit on the right edge, though. Snake floor. Pit of snakes. That's got to be good for you. I quite like snakes, man. Snakes is alright. Like, I don't, if you've ever held a snake, they actually... They feel like silk, man. Or at least when I handled them, but then someone else I know who's handled one completely disagrees with me and says they feel slimy, and I'm like, well, I don't know about that, because, like, certainly none of the ones I've handled felt like that, although people used to tell you they did, so I don't know. They like me as well for some reason. Now, that texture I kind of like. You could use that for, like, a stream flowing over some pebbles. Probably like that grey stone with like the green moss in the middle. You know, I can see how you would apply this in a level. Now, unfortunately, my cool colouring of textures is the display is wiping the green out. Fucking shit. You see, your work is never done with this kind of stuff. Let's just set it to normal and have done with it. Yeah, the green's still not showing up well. I don't know what that's about. Wall crack to blow shit up. Bubbles, which were sort of there, I think. Is there a bubble spawner? No, it's probably its own sprite. That, I guess you could stick it on walls to make it look like a hole in the wall. The Voyeur. Gotta do some Voyeur, man. Voyeur's good. It makes the world... What is it, like... Yeah, the bubbles are their own sprite look. But yeah, there's like at least 85%, I think, of like everyone has done Voyeur at some point, and they just probably don't admit it otherwise. I'm not going to recommend it to you. Oh, look at that. It's like... I can't remember how to fix that, so... How do we do this? It had an animation defined and then the animation was removed. So yeah, I'm thinking that they probably used it to see how the animation would look in-game and then removed it once the functions were implemented. So that explains why tiles that should be handled by Curd are animated here. The functions for them aren't implemented yet, so it just gives them an idea what it looks like. That makes sense. I always liked how the lights had an animation when you broke them, but I don't remember the texture existing in that orientation in the final game. I could be wrong. Well, it's always good to get electric shocks. This is that weird four-way switch, which is odd that it's labelled here and not on the first tile. So it's like in reverse. Strange, but okay. We'll roll with it. Break the jaws. Got some zombies, motherfucking zombies. Which the graphics definitely look cleaner in here. They look much more like as if they haven't been badly converted to a different palette, which is odd because I'm really not sure the palette changed that much. 1R1. It's the zombie taking damage. What's odd is the zombie looks like a middle-aged bloke from Hull. Like, they're all like that. They never have their shirt on, they're bald, they have like this wrinkled skin and like dodgy nose like that. Like, no shit, that's what they look like. They even sound about the same, but usually about football, because all they know is the Sun newspaper and football. It's like all they know. They can't speak on beer, often they'll know a bit about, and they won't speak to you about anything else. Like, they won't know a lot about beer, they'll just know they can get drunk off of it, so... and they drive white vans, and tend to be quite short-tempered. They're alright though, people like that, because they're usually pretty blunt about stuff. Oh, hang on, does that have a jumping back up animation? That's pretty cool, but it doesn't really fit the zombies, really, does it? Zombies is a band from the 60s, they're pretty good. I'd recommend listening to Odyssey and Oracle if you never have before. But if they could jump back up, I like the idea, but I don't think it'll work. They're meant to be like zombies, they're just... I don't see them being that nimble. You blow his fucking head off, that's always good. Like it collapses to its knees. It does have blood. The title of the game would be misleading if it didn't. Throwing his axe. Gotta have an axe. I've got a big axe I keep around. Because they're just useful to have, you know, like... Sometimes I don't know, I just get bored. I feel like maybe I want to do a bit of murdering today. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, we'll get the axe, go down the street, see who's around. Yeah, that guy. Don't really like him that much. Guess I could kill him, you know, be alright. No one will notice. We just dismember him in the street, chop him in small bits and flush him all down the bog. Because, you know, that would totally happen. Jib the fucker. I remember jibbing them in the final game, yet I'm told it doesn't work. I don't remember it working in 1.21, but that would make sense because I usually did it with a napalm launcher or like lots and lots and lots of remote dynamite. And in 1.21, the napalm launcher's just like a fucking fast flare gun. Instead of, you know, it's crap. It's fucking shite. So that's probably, you couldn't jib shit with it. And if you'd want frame rate abuse, try the alt fire. The game would probably crash. I'm sure they nerfed it for them shit fucking plant enemies that they removed and then put back in. Wow, that's gross. I don't remember that being a thing. Look at that. Holy shit. I like that. Wow. Oh, fucking hell. That's cool as shit. Fuck, it's a shame you couldn't restore those, because I mean they won't have the functionality for it, will they? The skull crashing down doesn't make much sense, but these are like bloated butcher deaths. Like the skull. Oh, I guess it bounces. No, it probably does make sense. Yeah, it kind of does. It's a little bit crap, but I see what they were going for. Oh, they should have kept that one, man. Even that, I actually quite like that. Fucking gargoyles. I feel kind of weary about seeing gargoyle jibs, because it just reminds me of like part 9 of when I was playing through the game. And someday I'm going to compile the weirdness from every time I've got recordings of playing through it. Like the game messing up, the whispering in the background, there's like coughing you can hear. Around parts 9 and 10 is when it's at its utmost weirdness. And, you know, I recorded the game at like 3 in the morning or something. I was the only person in the house, but you can distinctly hear at times like whispering and voices as if they're right behind me, and a cough as if there's a woman in the room. I assure you there is no woman in my house. At least not in any living state. I mean, you know, if there's a hooker in my house, I'm either fucking her and catching diseases again, or killing her and burying her in my garden. I mean, I might lock her in my closet sometimes and keep her for a few days just for fun, but... You know, I wonder what would happen if somebody just stumbled into this and didn't get my sense of humour, like, hadn't any prior knowledge of who I was or the sort of shit I come out with. They'd probably be horrified. I think the wings are meant to come off as being somewhat transparent, aren't they? I don't know, they would have been pale like that. It's meant to look like there's light shining through them. This gargoyle sprite is definitely different somehow to the one in the final. I don't know whether it's just the way it's been fucked around with palettes over time maybe, or what. I thought they looked a bit cardboard, some of the models in this. I think they used clay models from what I heard, which I guess I could see. Weird looking little fuckers though, aren't they? Look at it scratching at the fucking bastard thing. I want to kill it. I want to fucking kill it. Burns, that's what that's right, I think. Yeah, shit. You annoyed the statues. Like the 3D did this better, man. It leaves this little pedestal behind. I'm dead. I'm dead again. Little embers die now. Nice touch, nice touch. That's a gill beast, did it? Yeah, fuck them motherfuckers, I hate them. Yeah, die. Cats! I hate them motherfuckers! Die, you motherfuckers! Die! Meow! 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 What the fuck? He has his swimming animations, look, so... Well, they planned for it to swim. Maybe we should place one in a sector that is tagged as underwater. Maybe it'll swim, but I don't think so. I mean, its physics probably are handled differently to the player, but I don't think it'll work. Given it doesn't seem to have any AI at all yet, does it, the Gill Beast? Oh, that looks shite. What is that, fire or blood? That just looks crap. Stern gargoyles in it. No label. Look at this motherfucker. Yeah. It's always a sad day when you have to take the dog out and back and shoot it. Actually, I do still really miss my dog. Like, didn't take it out the back and shoot it. Had to take it to the vet, but that was a shit day. That's not a good decision to make. Your dog gets old and sick, and the dog's in pain. So, like, what do I do? You know, I can probably pump the dog full of drugs, but she still won't be able to walk. And the thing with dogs is they'll take a lot of pain before they complain, so it might still be hurting her, and it's not far, you know. She can't have a proper life. It's probably better to take her to the vets and put down. It sucks. It really sucks, man. I miss my fucking dog. We used to hunt cats together. Stupid plants. Look at these motherfucking things. I hate them. It's the devil's snare. Snare. Oh, it looks so miserable there, doesn't it? It's like, I'm being killed. And then he pukes. Yeah, you fucking bastard. But it makes me think of what are those plants called where they're sort of like almost like a cup hanging on the end of the big stem. It has like goop inside. Like insects slip down the inside of it into the goop and just get like digested by it. What a bastard fucking plant. I like that plant, man. It's cool as shit. Stupid fishes. I guess they're like eels. From what I remember. Honestly, I don't remember the name of shit in this game. But yeah, man, plants what kill stuff are cool plants. Because, I mean, they're fucking plants, you know, give them some fucking credit. Oh, them poor spiders. There's that little bird animation at the end. I feel bad for the spiders. Well, look at the way the fangs are on that. Those obviously belong to a different order. You know, oh, shit. I can't remember, but there's like two major orders of spiders. There's the ones where the fangs sort of are like in parallel, like, you know, when their fangs will point forwards when they raise them, you know, the chinchilla. Whereas you've got like another order of spiders which are more like your house spiders and stuff, where they cross over each other, face like sidewards. Which I can't remember the inherent advantages and disadvantages of each one, but yeah, like not all spiders' fangs point the same way. Oh yeah, the fucker's meant to be able to web down. I remember somebody trying to make it look like that happened in a map once. It's a shame that was never used, but I believe you got to see it on the help screen in the final game, or maybe it was the ordering screen. But the animation was used, at least in the final game to a degree. I'm not sure a spider that size would be very good at hanging off of web. I mean, you'll find, like, larger spiders often aren't. Like, and they don't have to be that big. Like, Tegenaria, you know, are a really well-known species. Cause, I mean, like, Tegenaria domestica is the common house spider over here. They're fucking everywhere, because they're odd little bastards, you know. But yeah, I mean, they're not that big in the grand scheme of things. They're only like a couple of inches leg span or something at best. And they don't really hang off of webs like that. I mean, they'll run a line somewhere and they'll hang off of it against the wall, but even then they don't travel that much. But yeah, they're not really built for it. I would bet golden orb weavers could probably hang off of webs though, otherwise there'd be no practical way for them to have built their web in the first place. But then those would be like true spiders, so the fangs wouldn't be in the orientation of these ones. I don't know of any spider that's in the order these would be that can do that. Because, I mean, these would be like your tarantulas and shit. You know, they're just not really built for that kind of thing. There's no way I think they could, as strong as spider silk is, I don't think they could spin a thread that would be strong enough to do that. But these don't make sense, like just the shape of them and shit. Which I don't care, it's a fucking game. I'm just being fucking a dick about it for the sake of it. I actually think it's a really cool enemy, spider. Fucking hell. That's... I wonder what that was going to be used for. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I also don't know of any spider that just, like, does one fang at a time. They've clearly tried for accuracy, though. Like, you know, they have put some effort into this. They haven't just gone to give it 8 legs and say it's a spider. They have tried to make it look like a spider. You know, they've sort of got the shaping of the legs right and everything. They've got the palps right. They've even got kind of the striking posture somewhat right. It's a shame it never goes into, like, proper threat posture, though. Where it throws, like, the 2 front pairs of legs up. Like, it just raises up on the 2 back pairs of legs. Yeah, you don't want to mess with them when they do that. It generally means that they're really mad at you and will bite you if you start poking them. Which, I mean, it probably has a good reason if you've been prodding it. You know, if you stuff your finger down its burrow, you know, it's not really going to take too kindly to that. You kind of probably understand why it's not very happy with it. The hand sprite's definitely different. Swadiasaurs. I'm Swadiasaur. Oh man. Was it that you were going to be able to see it jumping up once, I wonder? Well, it's clearly it was meant to be able to choke it. Oh, that is bad. That is really bad. If you save the game and then load it again, the dynamite never goes off. Wow, there's no fuse burning on that. That's not going to do you much good. I wonder if you could throw it without the fuse, actually. Maybe that was something they meant for at one point. It's sort of like a Catherine wheel, isn't it? Yeah, let's nail a bit to the fence and do that with it. I'm sure that'll be alright. It'll be pretty. That's obviously the save and load screen. Odd that it would appear right next to a sprite that it bugs out. I'm pretty certain that background graphic does appear somewhere in the final game, but I don't remember where. Again, I think it might be limited to an ordering screen or a help screen or some such. I don't think it's in any of the levels, but I might be wrong. Either way, it's kind of gross, so I approve of it. Oh, it's that parallax sky that you never really get to see. Look at the fucking thing, man. That's such a shame. I really like... You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to get that out of the game with F12. And I'm going to use that as a desktop wallpaper on something. I think that'll look pretty good. I might have to bump the size up to like 640 by whatever, but we'll see. Because I quite like it. I can definitely see it with tacky animated lightning going in behind the castle or hitting one of the towers. Q Studios. Is there a 3D Realms logo? Ah, that's the disc cache. Like, that's when a cache miss happens. So it has to pull textures off the disc. Or something like that. Let me just roll a cigarette here. K-Pick disc. That is a very to-the-point label this tile has. I did tell you this would be a boring one, that we're out of levels, so, you know. So I don't blame people if you don't pay attention to this one. It's just for completion's sake. Makes me happy. I've said before, that's what this channel's for. It's just me fucking around. And if anyone ever wanted to join me, well, that's cool. You know, that they wanted to come along for the ride. But if they don't, well, it's no loss to me and it's no loss to them. So, which I think is a good attitude to have on YouTube. Because the thing with the internet is it moves quickly. Like, everything will grow and fizzle out to some degree. You'll have your heyday and it'll disappear in an instant overnight. So when you're not gaining money about it, you're not feeling particularly pressured or like you have to pressure people into watching what you're doing and shit like that. The problems disappear to a degree. Now this fucking tile is huge. I didn't even know we could put tiles this size into the fucking game, but yeah, maybe we could. I imagine this is why they replaced it with the ones that used little strips though, because this is pretty bad. And that flicker you're seeing, like where you're getting like lines going up and down, like that. I can see that on my monitor. That's not limited to the scaler. But yeah, they probably replaced it because maybe they could unload bits of it or whatever. I'm sure having a texture this size loaded, you just saw how long it took to flush it to the hard drive, is probably not really good for the system. Tile 2500 is quite a long way away, but we will get there. Oh man, this used to be one long tile as well. I always kind of liked this red sky. Actually, this looks different to the final one. Isn't it odd when you think, though, that this takes place in Episode 3 maps used this background a lot. And I would use this for, like, hell or volcanic mountains or something, you know. It's a really cool looking sky texture when it's used right, but I never felt it fit there, because it's like, well, I think this is meant to be, like, just Earth in the 1920s, really, you know. I don't think this is what you had, like, surrounding your average city in, like, 1928 or wherever, but I could be wrong. I wasn't alive back then. Oh, God, what is that? Cool. Oh, it has no label, though. What is it? I mean, is it supposed to cycle? Is it just a jib? Because it almost looks like it's a creature of some kind. But yeah, that wasn't around in the 20s. There is an interesting question. Does anybody here believe in past lives, I wonder? That's an interesting one for you. That's a very strange thing, because there are people in the world who remember being here before. And a lot of them it turns out to be bullshit, but some of them it turns out to be accurate, like they'll even remember a name and it turns out that they existed in the place they remember being and all this. Wow, I wonder what that was for. That's like 3 scratches according to Ghost Adventures. That's like demonic, isn't it, then? You know, I actually wonder, when you jibbed something, maybe this was for that beast claw weapon. Like, the guts would come out and they'd just twitch on the ground for a while. That would have been neat if they got that working. Oh, that's a blowing leaf. Which, given the proximity to that tile there, says I think I was right when I said it was probably leaves. And they keep using it as carpet. Or maybe they just hadn't changed the texture yet. Maybe they used to be a carpet or floorboards. I like the little blowing leaf though, man. I don't recall that being in the final. You see, this game, I think, with this texture set, if they'd coded these things to work, it could look really beautiful. And as a lot of these details are would be easy to code. Like, I think that might need to be a bit faster. That's too fast. But we could even randomise the speed a little bit if we did it in code. Because I kind of want to maybe put some of these in Duke Nukem 3D, just to see what you could build with it. You'd never be able to convert it back to Blood again. Like, you'd have to rebuild it manually. Oh, these are for the weather system. Yeah, it still references this in the Blood ENI in the final game. Now, this version uses an individual INI for each map. The final game uses one for the whole game. And it does reference the weather system, and, well, there you go. There is a... These would have just appeared over the screen. I don't think it was going to do anything fancy like spawn lots of them in front of you. I mean, that would ultimately look better if you could get it to work, but the math behind it would be a pain in the arse. But yeah, I'd love to put some of the detail textures, like, with the animations working and stuff. Like, the leaves, I could even see them, like, coming up from the floor, like, you know, they could be activated from sprites or floor tiles, you know, when you walked near trees, or they could be blowing off of some of the slightly more dead-looking trees and shit. Well, I could see it with courtyards with, like, little pillars and statues and, like, you know, like a Stonehenge looking thing around, like, a water feature with a statue in the middle or something. You could probably build, like, trees around, like, a path with pillars at the side and then grass and trees beyond there. It's just so I can see it being used in. Flares. Spears! More spears! Animations, huh? Oh, the spears bend, apparently. Well, that's good to know. Well, I should move forward, but it's not. I'm guessing... Well, we're like sort of right between two of the big particle board slabs here, and the wheels get stuck in it. So they're not even. And the floor sinks quite a bit wherever you are, so obviously the next tile's quite a bit higher than the one I'm currently set on. Yeah, I wonder why they don't animate when they're used as a multi-combo switch input. Looks like a knife. Was this game going to have throwing knives? I like knives. Jibs. Oh, that's nasty. Hey, look. It's a Roman candle. They're alright to hold at the unlit end. Why do people do that? It's really silly. More games need dynamite as a weapon then. I don't know, I think they're just shrapnel, a lot of these. Well, that font's already in. There's your heads-up display. Okay. There is this version. It has the infinity symbol on it, like Duke Nukem 3D did in some earlier builds. Kind of odd that there's a 0 everywhere. You could probably save a sprite every once in a while by doing that, because you just wouldn't draw the one where the 0 would be. But then you'd have to put a blank... Actually, no, you wouldn't, because, I mean, if you had less than 100, it would just be whatever, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm sure it's not any harder to read, but otherwise you'd have to make a blank bit, and that'd vary because it's not a flat colour. I quite like that heads-up display. That actually looks kind of cool. I can see why they would change it, but I do kind of like it. It's actually pretty neat. Huh. Those are your dynamite types. I don't know what that does. Stats. Summit, obviously. Lust. red, stat blue. Okay, these labels seem old. Stat ammo. It's blank. Stat 2 lust bar. Lust? Huh. What the fuck is that about? Was he gonna get drunk and start molesting the decoy boob lady or something? That would be kind of funny. I'd imagine it probably had something to do with the beast claws. Like, I'm guessing he must have transformed into some crazy fucking creature, maybe, but... Beast. I cannot make it out. It's just like a red zero. No box. It's like a red one. Yeah, these labels are old. So there's labels for artwork that's not here, which is a shame. It would be nice to see it. Tiny Gnome. Okay, so we're sort of in the right place. Textures have definitely shifted around. I wonder what the list bar did. I want to know. This wasn't an Illusionsoft game, was it? I could live stream that. I always wanted to live stream one on Twitch to see if I could get banned. You know, we got some Rayplay going. Post links to it on some feminist blog or something somewhere, you know. See what happens. Because fuck Twitch. Unfortunately, I can't stream to Lust Heart. See, that displays for the health in the old heads-up display. Is the label correct? That's an odd word. That lust off, lust on. Was it toggleable? What an odd feature. That word got me into trouble once. I remember ending a text to a girl when I was like 15. And it's the last time I used predictive text, because I was like, well, yeah, just after you about something, I can't remember. But it corrected it to lust, and yeah, she got quite mad. She didn't think I was saying I was lusting after her. Personally, I think she should have been flattered. Now, she actually found it funny once I explained, like, yeah, it's predictive text being shit. She just fucking laughed about it, which I was quite pleased about. I'm like, yeah, this could cause me some shit here. There's a fucking gingerbread man. What the fuck feature weren't they going to implement in this game, man? We've got booze, we've got lust, we've got boob ladies, we've got fucking gingerbread men's. We've got this rather weird little thing here. I quite like that. It reminds me of like the backdrops from Duke Nukem 2 with the sparklies that were going on. That gingerbread man, he looks pretty unhappy and miserable, evil. Maybe it's the voodoo doll, but it looks like a gingerbread dude. That's weird. Why does that go red? Haha. What is this, Nightmare 3D or something, where the eyes would reveal more of the map? I rather like that tile. I might have to strip that out and make a gif of it or something. Okay, now we're in these sky strips. This one never made it to the end. Was blue the palatable colour at one time? Because it just seems weird that it'd all be blue like that. Is that sky used anywhere? Because it looks... Jack's death. Now, yeah, there were other characters meant to be in the game, I believe. So, well, those textures have been removed, which is shit, again, because I'd love to see what they had. I wonder if any of it still exists in an archive somewhere. That would be cool, but we'll probably never see it, because it's owned by, like, Warner or somebody, I think. And fuck JSOul getting hold of it. That guy's a complete tit. I think the only reason he'd get hold of the game is to make sure nobody else got hold of it, because I'm sure there's some fucking terrible incompetence in the game's construction that he probably doesn't want people to see, because it'll make his company look bad. Wow, that spins fast. Slow it down. So that's nice and smooth there. Could do with a speed between those two, couldn't we? The wires look very bright. It's like still illuminated at the end as if it has a fuse in it. Well, that's what happens when you can't bother to retexture things. It's like a crosshair. That surrounds the napalm launcher, which was like the Ecto cannon thing. Oh, get that off before YouTube shuts me down. I'm looking up there now, like I'm waiting to get something on the screen. I know somebody's going to ask for it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Hold on. There you go, right. I'll get it out of the game for you. And I'll link it somewhere eventually. I'll probably forget. Yeah, this is one of the... That's Duke Nukem, this sprite. Duke Nukem is in here. Unfortunately, we can't look at it because I can't shift the offset, so I can't remember how to do it. And there's no text file, and I can't be bothered looking for one at this time. So this is all Doom shit.
Yeah, that's the portal. But wait, shit, Spider Jim on.
I've had nobody speaking Brazilian or whatever on my stream today. I'm disappointed.
Imps give me gas.
I think that's where that dude was from. Hold on a minute. Well, those sprites are different, because I think that's the one you get in the game. I don't remember seeing those. Wow, look how... I actually quite like that. That looks grimy as shit, man. I rather like that. That looks good. Right, that won't animate because that is a smacker texture, so that's just a marker for where the smacker will be. I think you could probably still play the SMK files with Bink Video Tools, which is pretty easy to download. Like, I think they give it away for free, I could be wrong. How many tiles are there in this? Oh, look, it sticks in his hand. Does it do that before? It does that. What, are you like firing your soul? Is it like sort of like the life leech? That's just weird. 2350. Let's see if there's a difference between them other than the offset. There is. That would be when it's firing then, I guess, because that one looks darker. Yeah, seems that way. I wonder what that would have done. Wasn't one of the port attempts going to re-implement a bunch of this stuff once? It never came to be. That looks like an evil weapon then. Yeah, the fire suit mask. It just puts one of them in each corner. It looks like shit. Ah, there's your beast claws I was on about. Yeah, I don't get what that animation's about. That was just a bit crap. That has to be makeup they've done. I don't think they would clay model that, surely. The hands all look like hands, and this looks like somebody's painted a rubber glove. Actually, they've done a pretty good job, you know, that's kind of insulting. It actually looks kind of cool. Because I think that beast creature you fight at the end of the plasma pack, you would have turned into that once or some such. What the... Okay, that's that thing that comes up when we play with the combo switches. N-A-I. N-N. K-K-N-N-P-F. They're just random letters, I don't get it. T-H. There's nothing we could spell with that I know of. Just not with a double K. Put a third K there, it might be able to make something out of it, but I mean, it wouldn't be anything good. Reflective shots. There's an oddly technological texture for this game. Life Seed. Animates slow as hell. I mean, that would be distracting in game. I can see why they slowed it down. We'd probably put it at that speed, maybe, but I always really liked that sprite. I just thought it looked cool. Voodoo doll. Squeeze its guts. Give it a stab. Stab yourself the thumb. Break it. Well, that's bound to end well. Its head fell off.
Petey didn't even have an head.
Harry, I took care of it.
You saw my dead parakeet to a blind kid?
I watched that movie in years. Oh, snow textures, man. They always look good. You know, Narnia, for some reason, the majority of the Narnia books I always imagine took place in the build engine with Blood's texture set. Like, I didn't when I read them at first, but yeah, after I'd played Blood, for some reason, it's all I could see in my head. It was like, in, like, Lion, the Witch in the Wardrobe, it's what I saw, and The Silver Chair. The other one's not so much. So yeah, Narnia runs on the build engine. But then I always think as well when I'm out in the real world, like when I see things, I'm like, okay, how would you make that in build with whatever game's texture set? It's just an interesting thing to try and do in your head. Sorry, I'm losing track of what keys do what. Right, those did appear in the alpha, and there was a version of them in the final. But yeah, I like the snow textures. They always looked good to me. Especially these little lampposts, they always look cool. Redneck Deer Hunting has some pretty good snow textures in it. Like, it's a shit game, but visually they did pretty well for the build engine. Ah, this is 2500. I wonder how close it is to that other tile. Like, I'm sure the mountains are shorter. Like, that other tile looks way taller than this. But then I think the sky's higher in this. The mountains have been lowered, I guess. I wonder if they scanned it out of a magazine like they did in Duke 3D. Oh, there's your moon. My camera's not working, so I can't respond in kind. Lightning 3. Yeah, keep an eye on... Oh, no, that sky was going to have lightning. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. So it did have lightning in that sky. Which I guess wouldn't be there all the time. I don't know which one that is. I'm sure there's a tile in there that looks similar, but the problem is that we can't really look at them in that much detail from here. So we can sort of look at the pattern. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, those are player start points. Combi frame A. All eyes light up. Was it part of the heads-up display, perhaps? Key 7 keyhole, I guess you could use that for. Skulls, alarm bells. I don't know what that is. Don't ask me. Hang on, these keys instead. Do they know? Skull key, that'd be I key, I guess? So that'd be the fire key. Okay, actually these look kind of cool. Dagger key, but I can see why they didn't use them, because you don't get it immediately. Spider key. Crescent key. Yeah. I kind of like those, but like I said, I can see why they didn't use them. Because it takes you a while to figure out what they are, and that's not good game design. Okay, there's a font here that I don't recall seeing. This didn't make it to the end. I think we'd see it in places in the alpha, but I'm guessing this would have been for the menus and shit. Oh, we've even got lowercase. That's... Duke 3D doesn't have that, from what I remember. I don't think Shadow Warrior does either. Oh, it's Cerberus. Oh, I saw a label. Yeah, he seems to be labelled correctly. But I mean, the labels do occasionally turn up interesting stuff, because every once in a while we see some shit that is... yeah, gross. We see some shit what is clearly labelled as something that's not there, or something that was moved. but generally shit that I'm guessing they've took out, and that's an interesting insight into what was. This game, I think, changed a lot throughout development. I think a lot of these old games did, like Shadow Warrior did, and we can see that firsthand now. Duke 3D, yeah, we know that changed throughout development, and this game, well, seems that much the same. It changed quite a lot throughout development. I wonder if it was always based in the 1920s as it seems to be meant to be. In the first, in the final. And Blood 2 somehow set in the future somewhat. I don't know, man. Fuck that game, that was horrible. If it would even run, and most of the time it wouldn't run. I always thought his death sprites were a bit shit. He could do with a few more frames. Although him, like, fizzling away like that's kind of cool. Right, the player actually does that when he gets blown up in this. With his death scream. Oh, we've already seen the spot. Oh, these spiders don't have red eyes. The ones before did. So that's interesting. Like, my stream just appeared to drop out, and yet I got no indication of any such thing happening. So I don't know whether it did or it didn't. But yes, these spiders, they don't have red eyes, and the ones before did. I thought they were duplicate tiles, but no. So what's the deal with that? Like, were some of them not evil, perhaps? Or maybe they just decided red eyes were a little bit overused. Well, here's the colours. These fuckers look like they're made out of brown paper bags. To me. Supposedly they're clear, and like I say, yeah, I can totally see that. I would buy that. They were, but actually it looks like the zombie head in the cloak of it, doesn't it? Which it probably is. You know, they probably would look the same without the cloak. It's probably just the zombies again. But yeah, they look like brown paper bags, man. Look at that shit. I swear brown's the palette in colour in this, which I guess we'll find out if there's no tiles for the grey one. Or maybe it used to be blue like Duke and Shadow Warrior. I mean, the game was handled by 3D Realms in some capacity early on. I think it's built off of Duke's code base, so... Who knows, maybe they did change the palette at some stage. Hey, the other two did, so... What the fuck is that animation for? It looks like he's jumping. Now that makes me wonder, with those arches of cloaks, did the AI used to jump? Because that would be cool to see them like running and jumping over like gaps above you as you walk underneath and shit. Some enemies can do that, the ninjas can do that in Shadow Warrior, so I mean, there's no reason this game couldn't have been meant to do it. Wow, look how many holes he gets put in his chest. No wonder the fucker dies. I wonder how many times I've said die in this. I always liked the foot twitch. It's a nice little addition there. The last two shots, which I can't remember if they actually do, like, fire a hit scan or not as they die. That fucker, that... I think you were actually going to turn into it. Beast. Like, and that it might not have always been a boss. Like, maybe it was a boss, but it looks a lot like, you know, it would fit with them claws look. So I think maybe you either were this thing or would turn into it at some point. That's like a taunt with gems at ends to... Oh, look at its arse, man. That's horrible. We didn't need to see that. What a primitive fucking creature. I mean, it's got kind of cool hairstyle. I always felt bad for this thing in the Plasma Pack, because it's just coded so shit. And it looks really out of place in there. I mean, the whole Plasma Pack looks out of place, because you can tell it's unfinished crap from an older version of the game. But, holy shit, man. fuck is that? You know, I mean, what the fuck? Like, they thought they could get away with that. The ghosts definitely looked better in this build. I'm sorry, they just did. Like, the artwork is way less fucking shitty looking. It doesn't have noise in it as much. Heads are a bit rough, but I mean, there's not much you can do when you've only got, like, one level of transparency from here. That looks very much like a clay model, though. That I can really see that is clay. That is definitely. Look on the arm, though. The scythe, I would imagine, isn't. That's probably like plastic or something. Like, you know, you kill Death, but then he just comes back as a ghost, and then he's unstoppable, so... It's not really a good idea, is it? Stupid Guild Boost. These look like different versions of the tiles we looked at before. In fact, these look way more clayey than the other ones. Right, that actually looks like computer effects, doesn't it? Where it shrinks to the bottom. Like, I don't think they did that with the clay. Like, that looks like an effect out of an image editor. Now look at the arm, you'd expect some movement to be there. So, yeah, I don't think they modelled all of those, which makes sense, because you mush the model up. The thing with claymation, you've got to work fast, because the whole time you're working, the clay's drooping, so unless you're on it constantly, you know, you can't walk away and have lunch and come back, because the clay will have changed shape a lot in the time you were gone. Alex Marside, you know, what's up, man? Chernabog, oh, well, I see Chernabog's artwork's complete. Well, it's probably about good. Rachel. I mean, this definitely was meant to have more characters at one point. No. That's kind of weird. So we've seen the names of a few of them. You know, what was it, like Jack? I think like Jack's death was on the labels. And we've got Rachel. Chernabog is. I'm sure I remember it being Chernborg, but I don't know. Finally got out of James Heller. I don't know what that's in reference. Wow. Well, shit. Given that the player sprite used to be the cultist, and I said I thought maybe you transformed into that beast. Your statements aren't making a hell of a lot of sense, dude. Fine, whatever. Maybe I'm just too tired to make sense of them. That is a real possibility. Yeah, this artwork does look a lot cleaner, though. It looks a lot sharper, and it's not necessarily good. I'm amazed there's as many tiles, to be honest. I thought it would stop somewhere around the 2500 marker. Oh, that looks like a zipper, man. Zipper light as shit. You want like a Davis and Eaps or something. I don't even know if they were making zippers in the 1920s. I'd have to check. Yeah, that was a spear gun at the time. I still think that fucking white pipes are just like 22mm overflow pipe or something. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's the smoke coming out of the spear gun, isn't it? That's a swimming cultist. But that didn't change too much. That's a glass jib. I don't think that changed much. Okay, blue glass jib. So was that blue the palette colour? No, I guess not, because we've got red. So this will be for like the stained glass breaking. And I think that effect is in the game, because I remember it actually looking pretty decent. Well, I might be getting mixed up with the final by now, who knows. That was a napalm projectile, which there's no napalm launcher yet, so, you know, it was the Ecto gun or whatever. The burning doo-doo can get stuck burning forever in the final game. Burning trees, very nice addition to the game, but these didn't change much. And I'm not sure there's anything else in here. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if the machine will be fast enough to do this, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to keep a close eye on the labels at the bottom for a little while and see if anything drifts past. Because there might be tiles that are empty that used to have some in, and the label might still exist. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to stop at around 4096. So I'm not sure where the labels are stored. I don't think it's names.h. Could be, but I don't think it is in this one. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything here to suggest that there are any. Oh, yeah. Now I said about unused tiles. Check that out. These are reserved tiles. So tilt buffer is obviously for when you tilt the screen. This is a bit like I was on about with how the security monitors work in Duke 3D. Ball buffer, I don't know what that does. I'm not certain with that. Mirror label. Well, that would be for mirrors then when they're displaying a reflection. You know, that would be the texture that it draws to this surface. The ball buffer, though, if anyone has ideas on that, feel free to enlighten me. Maybe there was a sprite that was supposed to... Maybe the crystal ball was meant to do something. Or that eye ball that was animated. I've said it a few times, but they clearly had really big plans that never came to be. And they even say as much in the dev docs that they know a lot of things are going to be cut. I think they say it in the final version of the game somewhere. But I don't imagine there'd be any labels past there, because that would be the point at which they assume nobody would ever get to or surpass. And the tiles end at 4095 anyway, which makes sense. There's 4096 of them because you start at 0. So I guess that makes sense. I'll have a quick look in names.h and see what's in there, but I don't believe it uses this. Well, maybe it does. Well, there's a quick way to have a look at what sort of shit's in there, but this is outdated, clearly, as it references things that aren't actually there, or that are different to what it references. Invisal, I'd guess, was one of them jars, because it's referenced again down here. So... yeah, like as an animated version. So you've got Pick and Anim, which, yeah, so I would guess that would have been the same, unless they're both mislabeled. There's like Jack's death in here somewhere. Quite a few things that... No, it's amazing what you can learn about things from where you least expect it. I have to wonder what would happen if you could get a tilt buffer sprite into the game or something and then tilted the screen. Would it do weird things like the reserved textures in Duke do? I don't have long left in me today. I will be quitting this soon. Pardon me. Oops. Have a look what text files we've got. Oh, we'll see what the debug text has to spit out. That might be interesting. It's probably from when we ran the game. It might tell us the frame rate and such. Hit insert if you don't want to overwrite on the line. Fog.flip. Yeah. Now, the odd thing about MapEdit is it has this odd fog palette thing. And I can't remember the keys you press because they're not documented. But you can still do it in the final game, but it doesn't get saved. There's like sewer and like rain or something like that. There's all these weird like sewer and swamp. They're just odd sort of alternate palettes that it applies to the level. But it doesn't save it, so whether it could be defined at one point or is meant to be, who knows. Okay, it preloads textures, so that there is a caching system in place, as we know. Drips landed. This logs nearly everything. Huh. Well, that could be useful for figuring some things out about what's going on. Levels.txt. It's from 95. This looks a bit old. It's various directories expanded. Okay. Separate large. So yeah, this seems to suggest that some of them were connected from different segments of other files. Castle scraps, boiler room, and churn area. It seems to tell us a sort of the level designer's names in places as well. Connects to other castle area, castle parts. Castle scrap, expand to full map. Calypso. Did that get used? Major relight and retexture. Loose wood areas. Lose wood areas. Okay. That's a shame. Wood areas usually look good. But I don't remember what that map's like. Expand sewer. Dump fireplace. So this is obviously like a to-do list with levels. Retexture, resize, optimize, needs a theme. Optimize before use. So optimize is like a saddening word. It's where you know they've yanked things out of the game. Open is work in progress, needs only play testing. Are any of them set like that? Are any of them set to done? Cancelled. On hold, see notes. Wow. Pending needs some other item completed first. So this one's up to play testing. J Castle, which I don't think made it in the end. Doesn't appear to be a can anywhere, so maybe these have cancelled levels are removed from the list already. Play testing. See, that's play tested, but I remember there being fuck all in that level. I don't think. That one. So, what are you going to play test? Fuck knows. Maybe there's another version, or maybe I'm remembering the names wrong. That Genius Boy programmer guy, that rocking out guy, that oatmeal and fruit guy, that poop guy, that Lord guy, and that Andrew guy. Great, that Lord guy. Now, I theorised that Level Lord might have built some stuff, and you know, that's actually really kind of suspicious, isn't it? The Level Lord. His last name's Grey, that Lord guy. Priority. I'm an anus sniffer and can't use legends. Must be done as soon as fucking possible. Soon but higher priority items must be done first. Must be done for game but can wait until later. Could be done later, may not make it to game. Of which there doesn't seem to be many that are bumped up the priority. Cut crappy areas to cut down map. Finish. Any more than 3 stars? Does anyone put 5 stars? I'd have to laugh if they'd done that. Yeah, there is. Open all. Okay, you knew they'd put it somewhere. This is 5 levels into various directories. Well, that didn't really happen, so... Map edit will just tell us how to use the editor. Let's have a quick look. This is 2D and 3D mode. Does it have any of that stuff? See, I don't see anything about that whole palette thing. So I don't think there's anything useful there. This tells us a bit about what they've put in to the editor over time, though. I mean, there's not too much point in reading this, I don't think. If you have not already done, do run convdb4 on all your maps. You should then load. This is an old log because we're up to 6 now. You have creature sprites not using one of these tiles. Fix it immediately or risk certain death. Well, that would explain why the level designers changed to different people then. Which does again make me think the composer's definitely different on this, and that's why his music's fucking better than the final game. Yeah, I imagine the team who worked on this early build faced certain death, and that's what happened to them. Now we know. Now we know what happened. Because, I mean, this was in version 4, and a lot of these problems are still here in, like, Build Engine 6. I mean, look at this, it's in, like, 95. This build's from, like, 96 somewhere, so, I mean, it's probably, like, at least a year, and they still haven't fixed it. I guess they just killed them, then. That seems reasonable to me. I mean, you know, if they're not going to fix this shit. Okay. Oh, these structures members are still on these sprites. Cure some of the problems caused by sprites being inserted with bogus values. Yeah, that can do really bad things. I imagine that's what's going on in that level where the sprites were flickering. I mean, it seemed like an old level, so... Oh. Doors can open on my laser printer. Creature eye. You'll see fields added to the X-Sprite dialogue shortly. Pardon me. My guts are kind of kicking off about something. How bright the light is, maximum number of reflections, how much light gets to... What the fuck is this? The light bomb has been fixed. The intensity consoles... What the fuck is this? Some very odd stuff, man. I don't think much would have changed here. Whoops. QAV edit. So this is for something. Exit play the animation. QAV. Did they have their own animation shit? I could have sworn it used Anim edit. It's undergone a complete overhaul. You can use different metaphor to create and display animations. It is now based on fixed frame intervals. Fixed number of layers, currently 8. This means that it's much easier to control the Z ordering of tiles and simple to adjust overall speed and playback. It seems to be in its infancy. Did they use this instead of smacker textures then? There are some things here. Well, let's see what we can do with it. The animation doesn't appear to work. Oh, look, it has like individual layers and shit. Okay, I can see what this was doing. Probably just broke it, like, but... You know, we can move across different layers. Yeah, if there's an animation, it's not working. No, don't save tunes. I like the little dialogues they have. I mean, I'm guessing this is a pretty neat little program. I might actually have to use this thing. Animations look to be on by default. Oh, I'm not sure it's drawing for you. I think it uses a weird screen mode where you can't see it. But you can move individual layers around. It like has the hand sprites for the spray gun and the heads-up display with the Lust Heart thing. So yeah, this must be what they use to stuff things around out of multiple tiles, I guess. Yeah, because it just uses the art files. If you hit V, it lets you into the art files. I don't know why it won't display. It's using some weird screen mode that we can't do. SELQ edit.txt. I might actually use that QFE edit thing myself. I think that could be useful. I don't have a license, but how the fuck would they know? Exit the editor. I don't know. It's probably easier just to use stinking PowerPoint, isn't it? PowerPoint, you can do some really neat shit with PowerPoint if you put your time in. I've done like 3D CGI with that and all sorts before now. You get really fast at it. Right, what the fuck does this do then? I don't know what this does, or... See, it just references art files. Total smirk. What the fuck does this do? It doesn't tell me what it can load. SDQ edit. Let's have a look at what it does. Sequence editor, right. This game hammers the hard drive so hard. Well, I don't know, do I? What am I supposed to load? Now, this is a problem, there's no... Yeah, I can't find... Like, it obviously fucks with something, but I couldn't tell you what. Pardon me for being a moron, I guess. Yeah, there's no sequence files then, because that's the thing I just saved. So, well, I don't know what it does, and I'm not good enough at using it. Let's have a look what's in here. Oh shit, this looks like part of the fucking source code, maybe even. I don't think so, though. It doesn't look like... Like, it don't look like C to me. So, I don't know. Maybe it's an internal scripting language. I don't know. I'm not a programmer, man. Weird sounds. I wonder what sounds are actually in here, because they don't hear too many in the game. The death splooge. Splooge. I thought that was the word you use when you jizz on something. Burning scream. Hey you, halt traitor. You're not authorised. This is more Dark Forces influence. Now, I wonder if these are in here, because that would be kind of weird. They went this way. Over here. Did you see him? Where is it? Now, these kind of things are like, suggest they wanted some pretty advanced AI at one point. Death scream. Splooge. Got 'em. Right between the eyes. Nothing left but pieces. Let the rats eat 'em. Feed 'em to the hounds. Roast that sucker. I think I got him. Neutralised. Score. Ha ha ha. If those sounds are in there, I'm going to be intrigued. A lot of splooging going on in this, though, isn't there? Like, there's a hell of a lot of splooging going on here. I'm kind of wondering what I've walked in on. Well, that's pretty much working. Fix click distance, pool of blood for creatures that die, leave footprints after walking through stuff, bubbles underwater, water's not working yet. Ugh, yeah, you don't want bullets appearing on ricochets happening on skies. I don't think the sky does that, last time I checked. Some fresh sprites need to be X-flipped in mirrors, burning TNT, players not shown in mirrors. Get fog working via level definition. I see some levels in this look like it did, so I'm starting to wonder if they broke it later in development and just never repaired it. Or if it was something else that was causing the effect. So we can sort of see their secret plans here. Make sprite generators function as 5-volt other. They don't even know what they want to do, but they know they want to do something. That's right, make sure all files loaded in shared windows, game saving and loading. Yeah, that doesn't work yet. Feet on walls, alt fire for spray can. Ah, so that scorch sprite maybe was a thing then. Like I said, if they, well, it seems they did plan to implement that. I'm impressed. Okay, level analyzer tool, functioning map edit. Well, I don't even think it gives you a warning when it's corrupted. Rachel, where's that mention again of Rachel? This is an episode of Friends gonna end that show. Add new guard flag for dudes so they don't leave their default sector. Lens effect for crystal ball. Ah, so yeah, maybe the ball buffer is something to do with the crystal ball. Visibility on sector state, sector lighting effect without having the shade floor bit set. Yep. Auto texture alignment for 2 walls. Tommy gun alt fire strafing. Yeah, it looks like they don't know what that gun did themselves, like right there. Like, what does the Ecto Blaster actually do? I think we just jumped a page. There we go. Even they didn't know what it did. Look at that. It's like, what does it do? The hell is it? What a player dude physics? Yeah, they don't work yet. So that isn't implemented. So we don't need to test that. Chart is not used for shareware. I'd advise reading this one just to see if any of the shit we've asked is answered here, because it might be. Bloodlust. Morph player to beast and back. That's something that what did intend to happen then. So I was right. 7 messages till the net plays. I wonder if the net code does work. Cover and add artwork. Oh, adverts. Put adverts in the game. That'll work. Well, they do that now, don't they? And lump them off the internet. I've seen people playing on these shitty tablets and that. Talisman protection. These items take them, but after they absorb a certain amount, they're destroyed. Now that's obviously the multiple armour types, because it said before, find out what to do with armour. Save total editing time in map edit. Good luck with that. The build engine takes up a lot of time. You want to make good shit. And there we know, and another one there on the ground. The move thing could be capable of switching between 2 tiles as needed. Alt sector copying from map to map not working. Ah, that's not good. Based on fixed time interval, take a look at the codes in sector C++. Oh, the game's in C++, isn't it? Okay. Neward, Peter Fries. I'm sure Neward was still there to the end of the game, wasn't he? Yeah, it's interesting to think it looks like Level Lord worked on this. Although it looks like he might be gone already, given how outdated I think his levels were. Now this one's an interesting one. We're not going to read lots of it because it's a very, very big thing, but this is what lets the sectors move around and shit in this game. Pretty advanced system. You can make some really complex machines with it. There's none of these firing shrinkers in targets and blowing gas bottles up off the back of the map, like on stepped height sectors and shit like I do in Duke 3D. Where I built a fully working 24-hour clock, which I think is the largest machine ever built in vanilla Duke 3D. Which I wouldn't advise trying to top it, because you'll go insane. It did horrible things to my sanity making that clock work. Yeah, 24-hour clock adding no new code to the game. It loses a couple of seconds a day, but nobody's going to stay in my level that long because the level's shit. Easy to create an ambush where picking a crucial item causes doors to open. Yeah, you can see what they're going for. You can trigger anything by anything, there enough, and you can handle almost any sprite as any type of thing. Like you can use anything as a switch with animations or whatever. System channels, yeah, they're reserved. You can press F10 to get the first free one. These are some of the reserved channels here. I'm going to say 7's call that startup. I remember using that a lot. I seem to remember just triggering those randomly and it doing some pretty neat things as you'd expect. Those are the ones you can use. Lightning has its own channel. It's kind of cool. Ah, that'll be a secret level exit, end level B, I would think. Voice text over. There's some interesting shit here. You've got a level designer, communication between objects, the use of the system channels is further described in the section on system triggers. It's been triggered. Subject broadcast message results in state chains. It's pretty obvious because if it didn't, it would be a pointless system. Then it just sends like tag activations to nowhere, or doesn't bother sending them or listening to them at all. Also at a respective object sense flag, this callbacks work independently. It sounds complicated, but it's actually really easy to use. Like, it's easier than the whole high tag, low tag thing, and you can do a lot more with it. It's a very nice system. At least it was by the time of Final Games. That was pretty much there in this one, but there's clearly still a ways to go when you use the menu. I don't know why they changed the word FX to just FX, though. That seems like a pointless edit. It makes no difference, it's just why change it. There was nothing wrong with it. You know, it's just an odd thing. All where tumblers are in the correct position, the counter switch has data 2, 3. That's when it reaches the value of 3, it will go to an all-on state, send a message to the door to open. Okay, this is about combinations. Its slave switch has a key value, data 2, so that whatever the master and all slave cycles to a certain value, it will go on and send the message to the door it controls. Yeah, there we go, it references one of the test maps. Combination lock, which are complicated fucking things to do. Creatures can use their state to indicate when they're alive or dead. Send commands when they're killed. Remote control, yeah. Be brought back to life by remote control, of course. Have many. I wonder if that's the zombie jumping back thing. Yeah, so we've got a bit field going on and considered to be an active and active example. Creature could start out, well, that's Boolean, and if it's only like active or inactive. Become animated when the player reaches a certain location. Yeah, it can be used well. I think I actually said when I was playing through the game, and I think it's in the part 10 where you've got like the woman coughing in the background that I've never been able to explain, where I said about that kind of shit is there, and it's not fully implemented, but you can use it in the final game, and it's really underused because you can do some really cool shit. It's how they made the cultists start shooting the innocents outside the hospital and stuff. You know, when you're looking out the window off the ward, and you can ride that secret elevator down there. Okay. Spikes, sort of like a sharp stalagmite, does damage when touched, damage once or continuous. Falling rock trap, several rocks fall to the ground, needs to be triggered via commit. We didn't see that anywhere. That actually sounds cool, but I'm not sure how you'd make it look good in the game. Gas emitting statue. Oh, poison gas. Well, that's probably what your gas mask's for then. I could even use it like that swamp palette thing I was on about. Canning types. Yeah, it has waveforms for like lighting, so you can, instead of on and off, you can have like, you know, a linear wave, like you can have sinusoidals or slow on, slow off, things like that. Like I say, you can go very in depth with this system if you want and make some really neat shit. And I have seen bits and pieces of things people have built for Blood. It's very impressive. You know, this system, when used properly, it does some really magical things. Choose which message is displayed. Yep. Voice text servers. This has a very interesting line there, which I've mentioned. There you go. Like Karl Katarn's voice in Dark Forces, because Karl Katarn's near enough, you know, your first one where the guy speaks and has a conversation in a level. It's quite basic, but yeah. It's not the way to create sound effects that's supposed to come from a location in the map. Of course not. Little definitions. This is where you get to pick your name. I wonder actually if there's any of that shit in there. Oh, these were def files instead of innies, weren't they? Do not include the extension. This is generated by voiceover triggers. The features of the X system that have been tested. Fog. So evident you can cause a level to use fog depth queuing instead of normal light diminishing. Dramatically limit the number of shared levels available. There's a global for the level, so you will probably want to consider using it only for an all-outdoor level. Sector linking is now working. To link 2 sectors, place an upper link marker in 1. Yeah, it does. We tested that in one of the earlier streams. If this seems backwards to people, I can change it. The upper link goes in the sector where you move upward to end up in the other sector, and the lower link goes in the sector where you can move downward to. The markers are even paired by specifying unique value for data 1 field. This value is shown in 2D mode in the editor. 2 markers for each value, an upper and a lower marker, and you place them very far apart on the map. Overlap them properly in the XY plane. This allows 3D sound effects to either be out of earshot or heard correctly, respectively. Yes, lapping them on top of one another is difficult, because if any of the vertices overlap, you're in a whole world of shit. Quite likely, anyway, once you've fucked around a while. Save shit like that until last. Which, as we've seen, they've dragged things way out in some of the maps, or built them away from where they should be linking up and shit. Damage types. Now, I think these still appear as writing in the final game, but a lot of them don't work. So they were never implemented. Respawning surface kits. That's yeah, what I was on about when you stab things, when you walk on the ground, like you know, when you jump, you get a different sound depending on what the wood's made out of. Stone, wood, dirt, metal, water, lava, and so there's a minecart, mausoleum door opens. Now there is a path system where you can go to different points on a path, which does work in the final game, but it's never used, which I found odd. Like, they built that big curved path and the minecart you ride is just a rotating sector. It would have been easier to do a path sector, I would think. You could have done a more advanced thing. You still have to be a single sector path, unfortunately, but yeah, very strange that. Walk by the and occasionally the sky flashes, then you hear the sound of thunder from far away. Next, a bunch of floor strikes together to create a lightning-like effect. Imagine a guy pounding a staff on the ground and lightning radiates outward on the floor from his staff. When it hits the player, it does damage, which is something they suggested in the to-do list, I think, when they were on about the Ecto Blaster. Yeah, it's those elevator door things and shit. Yeah, they tried doing that in Lame Duke, the whole multi-floor elevators thing. I did it in Duke 3D with 16 floors and no new code. Wasn't fucking easy. It's amazing what you can do with them target sprites, man. Elevate result. No, unfortunately, I lost that map along with the fast mechanism for my clock, which is a shame because fast mechanism for my clock was impractical, but it was beautiful to look at. Elevator is open on same level as player. Player enters. Player presses action bar. Elevator closes. Moves player. Rachel. She will appear, walk towards her target location, and mark a sprite, and then disappear. Any interactions you wish her to be performed should be accomplished with the initial trigger. Who the hell was this Rachel? Sound generator. Place one of these where you want to create a custom sound, e.g. creaky floor or mysterious laugh. When it gets triggered, it will play the sound ID specified in its data field. The determines average period between sounds in 1 hour and 10 seconds. 1/10 seconds. Yeah, tenths of a second. The interval will vary by give or take 50%. The force field wall blocks all movement when energized, including bullets. Crushing wall moves forward until it meets another wall, crushing anything and anyone in between, like Star Wars. Use 2 opposing walls to make a nice sandwich. Swinging pendulum trap. The large bladed pendulum swings out of a niche in the wall. Well, I think the sprites are there for that, aren't they? Guillotine. I've heard people pronounce it guillotine. How do you actually pronounce it? It's 2 L's, it's got to be guillotine. Fuck you. Huge blade drops from birth. The flexibility of the blade and projectile wall traps are not self-triggered. Need someone else to trigger them. This allows you to adjust their timing to suit your needs. For example, you can trigger the razor doors by placing a player across trigger, see below. Short distance before the wall blade, adjust the distance so the player walking at a normal pace gets sliced neatly in two. Well, that would be cool to see. Okay, well, warping and shit isn't there. Sinusoidal floor heights. Collapsing stairs we sort of did, but it's just a bunch of individual Z sectors and it's not that hard to set them manually. Fuck, Heretic did it in the Doom engine, man. The teleport that works, sinking through floors, and these linking sort of worked. Sectors combined vertically, so it's a floor and another. This means it's possible for the player to move between them, be partially in both, which is an odd state because I don't think you can really do that. You only have one sector ID on the player sprite now. Sometimes you have to duplicate sprites in each layer because they won't draw through the... We're getting too technical here. You get what I mean. It's not technically in the same sector, so it won't draw as if it is in some circumstances. Cycle by messages from something other than a combination switch. Keep track of the number of times player enters a sector. On the 10th time, zap! Combination locks with more than one set one. You know what? I can do this shit in Duke 3D with no new curve now. One set of combinations. I can do that in Duke 3D. So I did the dock line system. More targets and shrinkers. Then needs to enter the combination, then press a switch to perform the action. Yep. Just like the tumblers, but would provide tumbler. It's all about tumblers and triggers here. I'm fucking. These things are really powerful. It's limited potential in using hidden switches that nobody's using yet. Yeah. If you have something you want to try but can't figure out how to do it, just tell me and I'll try and create an example for you. I welcome any challenges. Dude, missile, projectile, trigger, vector weapon, that's not really done yet. Why don't my doors work? Make sure the doors are receiving triggers. If they're triggered externally, you need a matching TXID and RXID transmit and receive, obviously. Think of it like radio frequencies, like radio control. If they're triggered internally, check your trigger flags and make sure the sector is not decoupled. Why the doors start in the wrong position. You must draw your doors in the open position, but set their state to reflect how you want the door to first appear on level. Why is the texture stretch on a sliding door? You may have an extra wall tagged for movement. If not all of your walls move, then at least one of the wall textures will stretch. Try to make them hidden. Hey, you know, if you set the busy time to 0 on an elevator in the final game, you can launch yourself really far into the air. Like, it'll kill you, but as long as you jump at just the right time, I think. Or if you put dynamite there or something. I can't remember exactly how to, but you can launch yourself right in the air. One of the maps I released used it to some degree from, yeah, it's some fucking dock level I did. I don't think there's any copy of it out there. Please don't look for it, it was shit. Yeah, you should read this. I think there's some good stuff in here if you put the time in. It tells you, you know, this is the system that handles the effects in the game, so you can sort of get an idea of shit they wanted to put in levels and shit, because it mentions it. Anyway, I've really got to go to sleep. But I think we're fucking done with this now. Unless anyone can think of something you want me to try, in which case I'll just record a quick video on its own, I guess. So yeah, I don't blame anyone for not watching this if you don't want to. I'm not going to be fucking mad if this gets like 0 views. Like I say, I'm just dicking around. If people want to join me for the ride, that's cool. If you don't, that's also just as cool. But yeah, if there's anything else you want me to fuck about with in this alpha, even if you just want me to record the midis out of something like a particular card or whatever, I'll do it. I don't mind, you know. I don't give a shit. Something to do. When I get time, I'll get round to it. Not sure what we're going to play next, but, well, we'll think of something. I don't think we'll be live streaming it, though. I've actually just ordered a new capture card, so hopefully some of these problems are going to start disappearing, because the way we have to do things now is shite. So hopefully it'll work out good. But we don't know yet. Only time will tell. Anyways, I've really got to go to sleep, and my stomach's kind of hurting a bit too, so it'll be okay. I think it's just gas, but I don't want to fart on a live stream. You know, it's a bit rude, isn't it? So yeah, I will see you around. Alright, Treason, thanks for watching. Oh, and I'm still really liking this K5, man. This thing's done nothing but fucking work. It wasn't even finished when we first used it, and it's done nothing but just fucking work. Like, unfailingly. Very good system. I'm glad I put this one together. It does remind me of that P75 I had, the one that could actually play Blood. Very similar board. It's ECS instead of TMC, but it's very similar. It uses like the same pieces, practically the same layouts, even the same fucking colour. Oh well. I'll see you again soon, hopefully. You watch this new capture card fuck my Xeon up or something. Probably won't. And anyway, the Xeon's fucking hardcore, man. Fucking super micro motherboards. They kick serious ass. Yeah. I'm definitely out of here. I've had enough. I'm knackered.